We've already started, everyone. I am with hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Bob Doyle.
Hi, Christy Whitman. Who am I talking to?
Oh, who is this chick? So Bob and I actually have known each other a long time, and there's I think a debate on what year we met each other. But I remember I was doing back people still do it, those Amazon campaigns to get into the bestseller for the day. And Bob was one of the first people that I met, and you actually had me on your radio show. You read my book, Perfect Pictures, liked it kind of a little bit, had me on your radio
I
show.
think
We
that was
had
my review. Liked it kind of a little bit. Bob Doyle.
it's about,
The
right?
secret hadn't even happened yet, or had it? I can't remember.
No, it hadn't. That was the cool thing, because I remember watching The Secret and I'm like, that's Bob Doyle. And that was super cool. And it was amazing to see like the trajectory of what happened with you and for you when The Secret came out. And I remember interviewing you after it came out. And that's for this conversation on desires, because I said, did you plan for that? Did you want that? And you said that you made an intention to get your work out there in a bigger way.
Yep. Yes. Essence that was my overall intention. Not to get. I would never have thought. Well, I think I want to get into a movie about the law of attraction. It was just like I want to reach as many willing minds as possible, open minds as possible. And so then this came along and facilitated that beautifully, but I couldn't have planned that, certainly. And wonderfully, it wasn't anything I never had to get attached to or any of that. So I had no weird energy around it. It just was like, boom, here's something that's in alignment with who you're being currently.
Yeah. And you said something brilliant. It's like you can't ever plan it. You can't see the whole entire, you have a desire for something, right? You had a desire, and call it an intention, desire, a dream, we have different words for it. But you had this desire to get your work out and have as many people, open to it and be able to be served,
Right.
right? And then the events that happened with that, I mean, you were contacted by Rhonda Byrne, right? You weren't at like a lot of the other people that were in The Secret. They went to a TLC meeting and they picked everybody to be in it. She actually independently contacted you.
Yeah, there were originally 8 of us. There were going to just be 8. And then she went to the TLC and said, oh, look at all these dozens of other people. And so those 8 people, then she ended up interviewing 70 something. This is the lore I'm hearing. Okay. How these things get. It was how she
The
interviewed
ringers.
1,700 people in 5 minutes. It was amazing, but she could do it. Yeah. And then it was like, thought I wasn't going to make the cut. And I had all sorts of like, I went through this whole thing when I realized she did that. But there I was, because, she said, look, you were one of the original inspirations. So that was a cool thing, as you know, but it was
Yes.
not without its challenges afterward.
Well, you weren't prepared for that level of, or were you?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. Nobody really knew what was going to happen, but I think it was who am I going to be on the other side of this that I wasn't clear on. I just didn't prepare. And so, it's a very big part of my story at this point, but, I had a sort of a professional identity crisis at that time because, as you know, Bob Doyle is a goofball. And if Bob Doyle doesn't get to express his goofballery, Bob Doyle gets very upset and angst. And that's what happened after The Secret. I had this idea that everybody just expected me to be Bob Doyle from The Secret, because that's what everybody kept calling me. And so
Well, that's what I call you. I don't call you Bob. You're Bob Doyle from The Secret.
yes, I know you and several others, but
And
anyways,
my kids call you Bob Doyle. They don't even call you Bob. They think that Bob Doyle is your first name.
no, we should tell them my last name's McGillicuddy or something.
Continue.
Now I'm totally off track. Let's talk about your book.
Well, I have to say this officially. Bob, you are literally one of my dearest friends. And I know you always make fun of me when I say this, because you think I say this about everybody, but you are one of my absolute favorite people on this planet. I swear. I love you so much. And I'm so grateful for the laughter that you bring into my life. And you are the one that's responsible for all this, because if you can recall, it was several years ago that you went on a stage at the Quantum Success in Business, showed everybody how to get on Facebook Live. And then we were having lunch in my room and you're like, so when are you going to do it? And I'm like, do what? And you're like, go Facebook Live. And you and I went out on my balcony, and it was, I'm sure we have it somewhere. That's a good
Oh,
thing
it's
for
out there.
Facebook.
I remember it well, and it's a story I tell.
And
And it
look at
rhymed. That was awesome. Yep, that's right. I can say I was there and I made her do it. So all of your morning meditations, all this stuff that now you're freaking famous for. Thank you, Bob Doyle. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob Doyle.
Mhm.
I love you. And everybody doesn't know this, but, and I'm going to reveal this. Are you ready?
This should be great.
Everybody has been so enjoying my dog Jax in the videos. Well, the man that has behind this is the amazing Bob Doyle. I send pictures constantly. He's got more pictures of my dog than he probably knows what to do with. Lots of pictures to him, and he finds a good one, and then he creates the what do you call it? Animation of
Sure.
Jax
Sure.
with the British accent.
It was all fun and games at first because it was all nonsense. And then you wanted me to actually say nice things about the book. Then it became something else completely. So I talk like that and then pitch it up
Yeah.
in the, but yeah, that was fun. That was so fun. Thank you for allowing me to play in that way.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So we were talking before, and you were saying something about desires, because I wanted to find out, like, you've reached just, it's been amazing as your friend, as your colleague, to watch you in these last decade go to highs and then surf the energy and try to find yourself. Where what I
That's a
love
good
about
way
you
to
is
say
you're
low.
always, I'm sorry.
That's a good way to say lows. I said your highs, and then I saw you surf your energy. I don't want to say.
Well,
Yeah.
what was I going to say though? Oh, no, you've always been, since I've met you, leading edge. You were doing stuff on the internet, leading edge before anybody else was, right? Here you were leading edge, being in The Secret, be one of the people that introduced it to mass media. You've just always been leading edge. And now even what you're doing now is leading edge. And so it's just been cool to always see you find that place for you where you're definitely not a follower. And it irritates you when you follow. You want to create your own path. And I love that
I sure
about
know
you.
what you're talking about, Christy. No, you got me pegged pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know you pretty well.
Well,
So
but I do love playing with the toys. That's for sure. Because it's just another way to communicate ideas. For me, it's just all the goofy stuff, the animations, the technology, whatever it is. It's just like, how can I use this to get into a brain differently, than everybody else. So that's why
yeah.
I go.
Well, let's talk about desires, because you said something that was brilliant before we even went on. I'm like, ooh, let's talk about that. What is your perspective on desires?
Well, okay, so I believe that obviously desires pull us through everything. We're born with the desire to live, the desire to eat, the desire to everything is a desire. We want to learn. We want to meet that person. We want to try that meal. Everything in our life. If we didn't have the desire to do anything, which I'm sure has happened to a lot of people sometimes, you just want to sit there. We've all had those days where it's like your body's just chemically whacked or whatever it is. And you're like, I have no motivation to do anything. And what if that was the case all the time? But luckily that's not the case. We do have desires, and we have passions for things we want in our life, and it pulls us into action and moves us through all of the experiences that we have to grow and have the human experience. It just drives the whole thing.
Yeah, it does. Because I just had a client tell me the other day that she had met the love of her life at 50, and literally was like for 3 years with him, just was so happy. And then he suddenly passed.
Hmm.
And she said for 3 years, she had no desire for anything. And she literally felt like her life was just flat. Now, she was, of course, going through the grieving process. But as soon as she started opening herself up again to alignment and started feeling good, now her desires came back. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that when we are moving towards something, our desires naturally unfold. So tell them about your desire for this house and like all that happened, because I think that's pretty
Well,
cool.
well, so we just recently moved and into a place. I live in Las Vegas, and I had a place that I shared with this wonderful woman, Tracy, over on the other side. And we needed to grow. We had ideas for, moving and what we wanted to do, but the market here is crazy. And it just was like, we were decided, I guess it's just not going to happen. But but we knew that this was, we had a checklist. We were very clear. It's classic law of attraction stuff, right? This is all the amenities, this is the bedrooms, this is this is what we want it to be. And so, but we realized, okay, it's just not going to happen right now. So I was just getting ready to sign another year of lease. And then on March 1st, I get an email that says the seller, or the owner is selling. You have 30 days. So now it's past our, we can't rationalize our way out of it. We have to do this, but we're in this market where there's just nothing. Well, as it turns out, we have friends who lived actually in this house and were moving out the day we got that email. And so long story short, we just finagled our way in. They never went on the market. We went right to the realtor, said, let's make this easy on you. And we got into this place, and I won't go into all the freaking details, but it's exactly what we wanted. And the desire for that, here's the thing, that desire moved us into action, even though on some level we had said, I suppose it's not going to happen. I know neither one of us fully gave up because we just don't. There's just that, well, it looks like this, maybe we should just talk about alternatives or just whatever. But we still took action. Like Tracy was packing boxes before we even got the email. So the momentum, the energetic momentum towards the desire was creating a different experience of reality for us than had we not done that. Our intentions, the subtle things we say, the thoughts, truly the micro decisions, the micro decisions we make in our day, knowing that we might move, are different than if we had really said, we're just not moving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, absolutely. But it was the desire that kept us going in the right direction and created what seems truly like a freaking miracle from the outside looking in.
That's awesome. And you have a pool, right? In your backyard?
Yes.
I got a pool.
That was not on my list originally, because I've had a pool before and it was a freaking nightmare.
Well, I got a pool picture of his legs in the pool.
Yes,
I'm like,
right.
Thanks for that.
Somebody else is taking care of it. So then now it's okay. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not really my problem. Mm-hmm.
Is his name Coco?
Yeah. I was not prepared for a pop quiz.
No, you will love it.
The enormous, the incredible, like I can't keep up with the dozens of people we have hired to maintain this estate.
You want to hear a funny story? So with the little kids say the darndest things, right? We were in Montreal, and I would tease my husband, I'd tease Frederick about getting a pool and then getting a pool boy named Coco, right? Okay. And so then he would say, well, if you get a pool boy named Coco, I get to get a pool girl, right? And so we would joke around about this. So here we are in Maui, we're with the kids, and all of a sudden this gorgeous, he's just, really fit, kind of gorgeous man comes up as our waiter. And so I turned to my husband and I go, that's Coco. Can we hire him? Can we change his name to Coco and hire him? He goes, we first have to get a pool. I'm like, done. So we're joking, teasing in front of the kids. And Frederick says, but remember, if you get the Coco, I get the pool girl. I'm like, done. So the waiter comes back with our drinks and our food and stuff. And Alex, he's probably, I want to say 8 at the time. He goes, excuse me, my mom would like to hire you as our pool boy, and she'd like to change your name to Coco. And he looks at me and I'm like, oh shit.
I love that kid.
He's the greatest.
I'm telling you, both of them, the stories, I don't know where they get it.
It must be from Frederick.
Sure.
Let's just say that. Yeah. So you endorse the desire factor because you love me so much. But honestly, like, this is important, especially now more than ever, right?
Yes. So yes, I do have a thought that I don't want to lose about this whole thing, is that this is a time, which I'm sure you've seen, that people are to a great effect denying their desires. They're rationalizing not doing the things they love, etc. They're very much focused on the wrong things, as I'm sure you know, and looking through that lens creates, again, behaviors and actions on your part that's just going to perpetuate your experience of reality that way. And it's just, again, the momentum of energy. So now more than ever, as I'm sure she was about to say before I so rudely interrupted, it's now more than ever, you should be focusing on your desires and really getting into the feeling of those things and deciding, who do I need to be to make those a reality, instead of looking at anything else.
Can I talk now? I didn't want to rudely interrupt you.
That was 100% fair.
I'm afraid to talk now.
Do not be afraid. I will cower back into my corner.
Oh my gosh. So you know what, you said something too when you were talking about your desire to get this house, and that Tracy started taking action, right? Because there's a lot of people that misinterpreted, I just want to say it in that way, The Secret, that you just sit there and visualize and that's what happens. I mean, obviously if it was that easy, the movie could only share so much and still be a short movie, as movies need to be. So there's a lot more that went into and that goes into manifesting, right?
Yes.
The desire factor gives you exactly step by step that you need. But action being one of those misinterpreted things. And you said something that Tracy didn't have the house. She didn't have the house. She didn't have, you guys didn't have it all figured out, but you started moving energy in the direction. How
Yeah.
important is that? Talk from your perspective, because you
Well,
said the energetic movement.
again, I think it's vitally important, but even just looking at a practical point of view, if you do that, you're going to take different action than if you don't do that. So moving in that direction of planning ahead and being as if you're going to take different action, that's going to get a result that's much more likely to get you there than if you do not take that action. But again, you get into that flow of energy through visualizing it, or however you do your thing, seeing yourself being there, being that person with those things. And as you act in alignment with that, instead of the story you have now about how things are or things were, as you act in alignment with that, you're just going to see that the world is, of course, going to respond differently to you than the action you were taking before. So it's not even magical or woo-woo or anything. You don't even have to think about energy if you don't want to. But if you just realize that as you take different action that's more in alignment with a person that's going to have these things, of course, you're going to get different results. And little by little, you will get there, as long as you do not quit.
Yeah. Well, it goes to say your career too. I mean, if you look at you and I, what we were doing when we first met each other and what we're even doing 5 years ago is vastly different now than it was. I mean, I'm now Christy the Council. I'm channeling the council and writing books with the council and doing all of my stuff with, I mean, everything is pivoted. And you're actually doing something that has guided you from your intentions, your desires in your career. And I'd love for you to share, like, what's exciting for you right now. What are you doing with clients?
Awesome. Well, to get right to it, instead of focusing on trying to explain the law of attraction to people, try to get them to get it, try to get them to understand whatever, there's so much confusion, as you know, around it. And I've spent 20 years passionately communicating these principles in what I feel to be an effective way. And I get lots of kudos for it and all that. But what I want to see is freaking results. What I want to see is people changing, and not just getting all excited about the secret of the law of attraction or practicing these things every day, but not getting a change. And it just occurred to me, and there's a series of things that happened to get me here, but where does reality creation really happen for the individual? And it's right here in your brain, in the moment that you give meaning to the moment, to your experience. So am I enjoying it? Have I arrived? Is this enough? Am I enough? All of those things, you're defining your experience of reality based on the meaning you give to the situation, to the moment. And that meaning is it comes from your wiring. How have you been programmed? And that wiring creates a lens through which we see the world, and we all have a different lens. And sometimes we share things we see as a community. We have common things that we see. And then other times, as we have seen now more than ever, we can all be looking at the same world and have completely different experiences of reality, like absolute different truths, which says that there is not a truth. It's
Right.
just wiring. So my focus now, instead of working on law of attraction stuff and trying to get people into alignment and all that other stuff, which I'm not discounting any of it. I'm just saying, let's get right to changing your brain. Let's decide how you want your brain to operate differently than it is now. So that's about like, who is this ideal person that you want to be, that or that you need to be in order to attract the things that you're saying that you want, because there's a gap between who you're being now and that person. That's why you're getting these results. So how can we wire you up to be that person? And that's what my work is about now.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's like I talk about that in the principle of having. It's like you have to have it, that you have to have the mentality, you have to have the energy, you have to be speaking those words of the person that has that desire fulfilled. It,
Yes. And I will tell you, Christy, that before, I think I probably thought of that as sort of a metaphysical concept, like act as if, and then somehow the energy is going to align and all that. And yes, that's happening. But from a more practical point of view, of course, if you act as if this, and it's different than what you've been getting, and of course, you're going to get different results. That's not woo woo. That's not magic. That's you showed up different and the world has to respond differently, period.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's what I really love about this direction, is that there's no, like, I'm sure that you've dealt with this, but I mean, the law of attraction is this, it is what it is. For a lot of people, it's a theory, it's a concept. We know it to be a thing, but getting someone to get to know it so that they will just accept it as a way of doing, it just takes a ridiculous amount of time. And I feel that it slows a lot of people down. But
Mm.
neuroplasticity and brain science and the ability to change our brain is not debatable. You can see it everywhere. And
Right.
how we get wired is very easy and simple. It just takes time. And so it's a much more direct process without any sort of resistance around science or woo-woo or anything.
I love it.
And the good news is, as a result of doing that, the law of attraction works automatically.
Well, it automatically works anyways. It's
But you
us
know what
that,
I'm in
yeah,
favor of
right.
in favor of your desire. But yes, of
Exactly.
course, it's always working.
It's like you said, it's so subjective. And I wrote about that part in the desire factor, that it's all subjective, and we're the one that's forming and literally like morphing our own reality by what you're saying. You're saying in the brain, right? The council says it's energy mastery. It's the whole part, whether you need your brain to speak, right? To think, to have perspective, right? And then beyond that, it's the energy of the emotions. But the emotions and the mindset are so interconnected. Like if you're thinking one thing, if your mind's focused on one thing and it's in lack, you're going to feel bad, right? Because you're absent from the thing. You don't feel good, right? But if you are thinking that you are in the fulfillment of something, or that you're excited about something, you're joyfully expecting something, you're going to feel good, because it's so interconnected. And
Right.
all of that's based on what you then do with action.
And the outer experience it's the same.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's what you decide to make of it. It's the direction you decide to split off on in your head, emotionally or whatever. And that's where all this wiring comes in, because it can be such the subtle little thing that flips it one way or the other. It could be, if you're triggered by a person, by what they're wearing, you could decide to go negative, as opposed to if it was a smell that smelled good from your past, you could decide. There's so many crazy little things that dictate our behavior.
Yeah.
And getting aware of those things and getting aware of your automatic responses is an amazing skill set. It's the first thing I'm teaching people to do, is to become aware when they act on autopilot, particularly when it doesn't serve them. And then it's like learning to become, because ultimately what I'm teaching them is the skill of becoming completely present, step into a state of pure awareness, the probably the most spiritual state you can get, where there's no judgment, there's no time, there's no space, there's no then, now, yes, no, it's just you're pure observing. And then you have choices,
Mm.
because you're not caught up. So that's tier one. But the reality is that in those moments, your body has produced a boat ton of chemicals that you are sort of at the mercy of, because they make you feel a certain way. Your body is responding. And so even though you're conscious that you're in reaction mode and that you're probably acting on false information or whatever, or programming, it's still hard to override it because you're so overwhelmed with it. But nobody said this was going to be easy. So it's really about just starting, like realizing it first and go, yep, I'm in autopilot right now. And you're just going to go with it. But every time you catch it and say, I have a choice, you start to create a new set of neural pathways with possibility. And if you start ignoring the old and not acting in autopilot, then those physically die away. And you literally become a different person with a different set of a different lens. And you will look back on how you used to be and not understand how you possibly could have thought that way. And if you want proof of that, I'll bet you can think back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago about who you were, the decisions you made, the thought process, and go, how did I think that way? It seemed good at the time, but I look back and go, I can't believe I rationalized that, or that I thought for that, or whatever it is. But as my wiring has changed over the course of time, much of it involuntarily just because of circumstance or whatever, now I see reality through a different lens than I did then. And it just goes to show you how much things can change. So imagine getting intentional about it and just being, instead of, because most of us are just, it's completely unconscious how we've been programmed or wired. But we have the ability to take control of it. We know this because every time we teach ourselves a new skill, we're doing that. Read a new book, we're doing that. We're constantly doing this for ourselves. Now it's just about choosing, let's take on the process of the simple act of learning, and let's learn to be somebody who can get the results I really want in the world. It's the exact same mechanism going on in your brain.
Love it. It's so in alignment. I love it. I'm happy for you.
Well, that's all I've ever wanted. So, wow, now what? I got to create a new vision board. I just have a big vision board of you smiling at a picture of me. And now it's true. So now what?
Desires fulfilled.
Do some meditating on this.
I love you, man. You're awesome.
I love being loved.
Well, thank you for how you contributed to this launch with Jaxie and doing all that, and just how you contribute to my life. I love getting your messages, and I just love our connection. I'm looking forward to, I know we came so close, like we were going to see each other. So I'm looking forward to the next time that we can be together.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. And I always leave there going, I can't believe she said that in front of her kids.
That's how you remember me.
I've said that out. I'm sorry. Erase.
Hey, I'm real, man.
I know you are, but what am I? Infinity.
Mwah. You guys, amazing Bob Doyle. Where can they find more information about the work you're doing now?
Well, meetbobdoyle.com. I think that's a great place to start.
Awesome.
Yeah, I say it with that little bit of, because it's new. We just finally, I know it's like everybody can't wait to hear you've got a new website. Yeah, no way, you've got a new website? Well, I can't type fast enough. But if you wanted to go see it and say, yeah, it looks new to me. But it is, that will give you several avenues to getting in communication with me. And of course, I'm very easy to find on Facebook as well.
Yes, you are. And Instagram. You're the Bob Doyle from The Secret.
That's right. I had to acquiesce and just say, all right, fine. I'm Bob Doyle from The Secret.
I give in.
Surrender. It's worked out. I love Instagram over there. I broadcast live 3 times a week there, and that's turned into a real fun thing.
Awesome. So if you want to be entertained, I love following Bob just because I'm entertained a lot. Go over to Instagram or stay here on Facebook because he does a lot of stuff here. And thank you again for showing me Facebook and how to go Facebook Live. Are you proud of me? We're simulcasting right now, Zoom and Facebook, and you were the catalyst for that.
Oh, I've gone way beyond proud to outright jealous and hatefully envious.
Well, I'm glad you're centered and all that.
I'm very clear.
Oh my God. So as we wrap this up, the Desire Factor is officially launching tomorrow. Ooh. Although there's confusion, Amazon is said it's today. It's not, it's tomorrow. Amazon thinks they know everything, but we love Amazon, but it's launching tomorrow officially. And you get so many awesome things. You can go to thedesirefactor.com. You're going to get 3 meditations right away from the council. They're amazing. You're going to get a 4-week live coaching program of the Desire Factor with myself and the council, taking you through the processes in the book. And also, don't tell anybody, but when you go over there today, you're going to get the PDF and the audio of the Desire Factor. Where do you get that anywhere else? And it's $14.99 all inclusive with shipping, tax, all that stuff. So thank you, Bob Doyle.
You're welcome, Christy Whitman, anytime. Can we do it again in 15 minutes?
Let's do it. We'll
Okay.
be back.
All right, I'm getting the
Take care, everybody. Appreciate you. Bye, everyone. I just got to stop streaming. You didn't teach me that.